This is Kev Millar from the 2004 World Champion Boston Red Sox, and you're listening to Boston's Big Three podcast presented by Ride the Wave Media.
Big Three, episode 78, presented by Ride the Wave Media, sponsored by bostonsbig3.com. A lot of merch. We keep saying it. We're gonna have a sale coming up. Wink, wink. It's coming soon. We got a phone case. We got hats. We got sweatshirts, posters. We got shower curtains. Really anything, you can come grab it. Good quality, good designs, and yeah, bostonsbig3.com. I know that Joe's launching
American-made products. Everything made in America.
Made in USA.
Babs, let's Howard plug my line.
Yeah, I'm trying to give the kids some money. Joe's dropping a nicknames line coming soon this weekend. At least one player, I believe, for every 32 teams will be featured. Pretty cool line. You'll check that out. bostonsbig3.com. Check out our shop. Check out our podcast. Follow us on our socials, all that jazz. The Los Angeles Lakers are 12-time NBA champions. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? The 12-time.
Can I say something? No. Let me say
I
something.
can't believe
right off the
Los
bat.
Angeles finally got their 12th championship. That's pretty cool.
I grew up this entire time, Boston versus LA, and it's always been them two chasing each other in banners. All of a sudden, LeBron James puts himself in a spot to win a championship in LA, and all of a sudden, it's 12 championships, and it's not 17. All of a sudden, Minneapolis, all of a sudden, these theories come out. Well, they only have 11 banners in the Staples Center. They don't count the Minneapolis Lakers. But why for every year before that they were counting it? But all of a sudden, LeBron James goes there. Nope, those don't count anymore. Now it's 12 teams.
All right,
Have we ever counted those?
If that's the case, congratulations to last year's World Series champion, Montreal Expos. Same thing. They just relocated.
Expos did win the World Series last year. Can
People aren't
confirm.
talking about it enough. 12-time NBA champions, congrats. And if there's one thing that I wanted to take away from the NBA Finals, and you're going to call me crazy, I think, but I want Rajon Rondo back in Boston more than any other free agent.
That's
Literally
not crazy.
anybody.
That's not crazy. I've heard so many of my friends on Twitter, Instagram, everything just saying the same thing.
He doesn't try. He's open about it. You have to just accept it. You know you're not going to get Rondo in the regular season. He's not going to be good. If he's good, he's not. He might be serviceable. But maybe because it's Boston's where it all started, he spent the most time here. Maybe he'll give you a little oomph. He's not going to do much. And then in the playoffs, you see this. He
Playoff
plays
Rondo.
basketball like one of the best basketball players in the world. Comfortably the third best basketball player in the Lakers in the finals. Maybe you could even argue KCP, but you're not going to get KCP for anything. I want Rondo back in Boston as a bench.
You didn't do that in Boston?
You'll get KCP with like a wristlet on his ankle getting tracked by the cops again. But for Rondo's sake,
PCP.
yeah, literally. But for Rondo's sake, yeah, I'd love him back in Boston. It pains me he won his second championship with the LA Lakers here. But for real, like you talk about playoff Rondo, talk about primetime Rondo. I have the best comparison of all time for that. Danny Amendola. He basically doesn't play during the regular season, comes to the playoffs, and just balls the hell out and wins a chip. That's like the same thing. That's a pretty good comparison. Except Danny Amendola has a better heart than Rondo does. But
And he's got 3 rings.
And he's got 3 rings.
Significantly less
2
swag
rings.
and sass. I need that on my bench.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Like Rajon Rondo would try to trip people, run up the bench. He'd poke Chris Paul in the eye because everybody hits Chris Paul. It's perfect. And you tell me we don't want this guy. He'll be
That beef is so fun.
He signed
I
nothing
don't
but
hate
vet
Chris
minimums
Paul.
ever since leaving Dallas. Nothing but like 1 year, couple mil deals. We can get him. And like people are high on Broad Wanamaker after the bubble, and I think he's gonna stay. Kent is out. He already said that. Tice just had surgery, so we need a big guy. And last thing, like basketball, because we're not gonna talk about it for a minute. I consider it's not a failed offseason, but not my desired goal. If we do not trade Hayward, every single one of our picks and whoever makes the money work that isn't an important person for Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, and like we said, whoever makes the money work. Karis LeVert's good. Karis LeVert is very, very good.
They're not going to trade. You
Why?
think that team's going to trade anybody the season
they won't.
before they get
They won't.
Kyrie and KD back? They're in the division
You
too.
can't pay Allen, and you're not going to trade DeAndre Jordan once he came with Kyrie and KD. He's
They're
the
not.
big
Gonna,
three.
they may trade them, but they're not going to trade them to the Boston Celtics. Come on now.
Why not? If it's the best trade in the offer, who else is going to give them 3 first-round picks in 1 draft? Because I also think a little psychology plays into this because we'll be like, oh, the Celtics waxed us with first-round picks earlier.
Literally the last time they made a trade like that, it turned out terrible for them. They weren't.
There's not a shot in my mind they actually go to the Celtics with this trade. Not a shot.
Allen needs
no
to
way.
Allen needs to, and I think Hayward's going to be significantly better on a team that's not the Celtics. There's just too many young.
Well, because it's his contract year now, so he'll ball
I know.
out.
And neither Allen and Hayward, like if you really break it down, it kind of makes sense. The money can match. Karis LeVert is going to be a beast. Like he had his ankle thing, 2 seasons ago, and then last year he was playing on a Nets.
Well, he tore both knees at Michigan, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah,
I just know that he did the Hayward thing and came back later that year. Karis LeVert's good.
Well, he didn't break his leg though. He just dislocated his.
Either way, that's what I want.
Still gross.
We were talking about this the last time we were on the phone, but there will be a major trade. The Celtics are going to make some moves, but the Brooklyn Nets, come on.
I mean, who else do we want? Big guy that we can get. Steven Adams? I'd package for Steven Adams.
Steven Adams would be nice.
I'd take Steven Adams.
I've heard Chris Paul's might be on his way out.
I don't want Chris Paul.
Either to one of the LA teams. So
give me Thon Maker.
Well, if the Thunder are blowing that up, why not try to pursue a guy like Steven Adams?
That sounds well. We were trying to go at him, and Thon Maker might be 35 years old for all we know. He was one of those guys like Serge Ibaka, bro. They didn't have birth certificates when they came over. Like Serge Ibaka literally could be 45 years old. Nobody knows. He was just randomly told one day when he was big and tall, "He's like, you're 18." Like, go on. All right, but that's basketball talk, and we missed the last 2 weeks of. Well, we didn't. We missed 1 week last week, so we have week whatever it was to recap. Week whatever this is. 7 to preview some picks that we made. A lot of
the first time ever, all 4 of us went winless because we all chose the Patriots, and that game got pushed to this week. That was the only game we picked. We all picked.
You know what? It was the BB3 bye week. You know what? That's just it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
The BB3
Brandon
bye
had
week.
COVID.
wasn't
COVID
feeling good,
spreads
dude.
over Zoom. It's bad. It's bad.
Way to push things back.
All right, but let's start off with the Patriots. We're not going to really go into the games right now, but the Pats, not great. Actually, not great. That's what happens when you practice twice in a month and a half, though. Like, you can give them that, but it's the Denver Broncos. It was a kicking fight.
No, honestly, the Patriots had every opportunity to win this football game, and we just did not come away with the victory here. Drew Lock throwing back-to-back consecutive interceptions on consecutive drives was the most boneheaded decision I've ever seen in my life. I actually like Drew Lock a lot. Granted, still, he's a young kid. He went 5-3 last year on a very, very poor team. Had to deal with a lot of injuries this year. Obviously, Melvin Gordon got a DUI. He was out of the game. Philip Lindsay's been out of the game for 3-4. No, and yeah, literally, that was the stupidest thing I saw on Sunday. Out for strep throat. No, you're out for because you had a DUI 3 days ago.
Well, to be fair, you could have got.
Besides the point, Philip Lindsay actually ran all over us. That's fair enough. Yeah, they're the cup at it. But anyway, Philip Lindsay ran all over us, 101 yards in the day, 4.4 yards a carry here. They slashed and dashed the entire time, but the New England defensive mantra stood tall. Bend, don't break. 18 points on the board, no touchdowns. We had every opportunity to win this game. Cam Newton just could not get it done his first game back. Come back from COVID is obviously a major concern. And Tyler brought up the fact that they didn't practice in 2 weeks. Yeah, that's obviously going to impact you. But look at the Tennessee Titans. Mike Vrabel, former Patriot, leading that team. They whacked the Bills just a week ago after coming off a 2-week hiatus as well. So it is hard to compare. I understand what you're saying, but just definitely a concerning effort from Cam Newton and the Patriots here. But everyone needs to hit the relax button. They'll be fine. It's one bad week. Just take it and go. It's a fluke game.
The Titans thing, they actually were practicing and they got in trouble for doing
outside,
that.
Right?
So
that was one
thing,
time.
too.
That was one time.
Yeah, but still, like they were probably still doing things on the low.
Yeah, but if you commit a crime
look at
one time, you're forever a criminal.
The Patriots bend don't break. They got lucky. They actually have. I was cherry picking stats and I put it on Twitter the other day. They've only allowed 1 rushing touchdown so far this year. Their 4th fewest points allowed so far. 2nd fewest pass yards allowed. 4th fewest total yards allowed. And they're also 4th in third down conversions for team opponents for third down, like 4th fewest, like third down conversions.
What was last week?
So,
third down. That feels as if every third down the Broncos just got it.
They had like a third and 22 that they converted too.
That was ridiculous. But
at the same time, like how many times were the Broncos within like the Patriots 30-yard line, and the Patriots just stopped them and got a field goal.
Oh yeah,
that game should have been 30. that game should have been 35-3 at halftime. Like, that game should have been completely over, and the Patriots were still hanging around. And I know that we can say, well, they've only practiced twice in 2 weeks. And there's no excuses because that team woke up in the fourth quarter. Where the fuck was that team all game long? And I just feel that they were not trying to rely on Cam Newton's running ability. They were trying to pass it a little bit more. Cam stays too long in that pocket. He does. And that pocket collapsed on him numerous times. Don't get me wrong. They didn't have Shaq Mason. They didn't have David Andrews. James Ferentz was out as well too. You have Joe Toney playing center, and they also had another injury during that game on offensive line. So they're completely banged up. But Cam is waiting for things to develop, and they're not developing. And it's funny because this is where Tom Brady, classic Tom Brady, gets the ball out within 1 second, gets the ball out within 1 second, gets the ball out with 1 second. That's what you needed. And don't get me wrong, if they had Tom Brady in this game, if they had the same Tom Brady with the same team around him in the same circumstances, they would have won that game.
I think they win that game, but also I think you're kind of underscoring how bad the receiving core was. They couldn't get any separation. And the funny point is, the Broncos dared us to pass the ball. They stacked the box the entire game, and it worked. That showed the blueprint of how to beat the Patriots as of right now. This team needs a desperate influx of speed to get down the field to open the underneath up for everyone else. Julian Edelman right now looks like a shell of himself. Does not look like the Edelman of the past years. We look at Jameer Bird's basically playing the role that Edelman's supposed to be playing. N'Keal Harry's been absent this entire time.
Oh, you want to talk about N'Keal Harry? Oh, boy.
I'm just saying, where the hell did he go? Cam Newton can't find him down the field, especially on that 4th and 10 with how horrific.
I'm still a believer. I'm not selling out on N'Keal Harry just yet. I still believe in him.
My name is Brandon, and I have given up on N'Keal Harry.
I'm not giving up on him
just
yet.
Brandon.
This is when you buy the stock.
Yeah. The stock's low right now. I'm buying in it.
I'm not buying. If he's on your fantasy team, you're dropping him.
I'm keeping him on.
I'd buy again.
Well, first of all, if you're starting Patriots wide receivers on fantasy, it's a dangerous thing.
Running backs or wide receivers.
I had buy again. I had literally, I think 4 of my starts had buys. So I had to start N'Keal Harry. I had to start a buy defense. I lost by 3 points though. 3 points, not that bad.
But I look at N'Keal Harry as somebody that Belichick spent a first-round draft pick on him, and he knows the room and what's going on around him, and everyone's saying, why didn't you get DK? Why didn't you get A.J. Brown? You have all these other wide receivers succeeding around the league, and then you have N'Keal Harry looking terrible out there. Bill's going to figure a way to make him look good down the stretch. And guess what? Sometimes it's like Danny Amendola, right? You just mentioned him earlier. Danny Amendola completely sucked in the regular season. Never did anything. Had probably 4 touchdowns max. He'd have like 300, 400 yards a season. It's all about what he did in the playoffs and what he made a name for himself. If N'Keal Harry can do that, great. Like, that's what you got to do down the stretch. What we learned this past week for the New England Patriots is they are no longer going to be a 1 seed. They are not getting that bye week. It's completely over. So this team now needs to focus on the AFC East, and they're very fortunate that they lost 2 straight. These next 2 weeks coming up against San Francisco 49ers, and then you play Buffalo. It's so important to get back on track. We just seen this past week that David Andrews is back. Josh Uche is back off the IR. Bo Allen is off the IR and going to be playing for the team as well, too. So
Bo Allen.
The defense gets.
I know one of those dudes' names. I don't know the other.
The defense gets a little added something to help them out, which the defense, you got to give them a little credit. They've been playing okay. They've been holding it together. But having David Andrews back, then you should be able to get Shaq Mason back. You're having a full week of practice. This team should look like what they did against Seattle. That's what they should be looking like. Cam Newton should be throwing for nearly 400 yards. He should be getting this shit together.
I hope you're right. I have one final thought on the Broncos Patriots.
Game, we got our ass kicked. Or the second.
It's simple.
Joe
just said
we
need speed. What else, glaring issue that we can solve? It's not like, just go steal Patrick Mahomes and kidnap him, dress him up in a Pats uniform. What actual problems do you think that the Patriots have that are fixable? A deep threat?
Well, for one, linebacking depth is a nightmare right now. You literally have one actual linebacker right now. Kyle Duggar's playing linebacker, and that should not be happening right now, especially as a rookie. Having to bring in a diverse skill set this early after a Division II, career is not an ideal situation for any team. Like you mentioned earlier, the deep threat is a much necessary need to target at the deadline. A guy like John Ross won't cost you anything. It'll be a 5th, 6th round pick, if that. The Bengals just want him off the roster. So a guy that starts to feel like that, John Ross, even a couple of superstar guys. Julio Jones, I know someone Babs has been bringing up a lot lately. That's a very
Every
feasible
player
possibility.
Babs is going to throw an Instagram post now.
Well, no, that is feasible. They're 1-5.
No, that's
This is
a
Matt
shot at
Ryan's-
Babs, not you.
Oh, okay. But for real though, no, seriously.
That's because I bring hope. I bring hope into the Patriots nation by doing that.
But the Falcons are 1-5. They're gonna blow it up. Matt Ryan's final year is here in Atlanta. Julio Jones might be way out the door. Another team that's gonna blow it up, the Minnesota Vikings. What about Adam Thielen? Justin Jefferson's looking like an absolute bona fide superstar, and Kirk Cousins is probably his last year in Minnesota as well. Why not get some value back, some draft capital? And trade
Let's
Adam
look
Thielen?
at this. If the Patriots, as long as the Patriots, what's successful for the Patriots this year in your mind, realistically? They're not going to the Super Bowl. There's nobody came out into the season saying, yeah, the Patriots are a Super Bowl team. They're not a Super Bowl.
Well, you said 14-2.
I mean, I said, yeah, 14-2.
I had 11-5 before the year, and I stand by it.
But I said 14-2 if
I think I
Cam
said
Newton
3 and
looks like the
13 a few
Cam
months
Newton he
ago.
is, and he got COVID and stuff like that.
Okay, but
I-
realistically,
12-4, and they're not going to reach 12-4
Right.
now. They're not going to do that. That's 11-5.
realistically, I said 9-6. 9-7, 10-6 was the realistic record. I'm sticking with that. I think it's a very, very fair estimate, especially considering the level of talent we're facing. The
Okay.
NFC West is a tough
10-6,
division.
and they should be a playoff team, right?
I said wild card.
Okay.
Yeah, from the get-go.
So if they lose the first wild card game, is that a big deal? Yes,
I
or
would
no?
say
This
so.
year,
Yeah, just
for
based
the
off
season.
coaching pedigree. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You're going to be facing a
back-to-back
shitbag
first
team
round
that
exits?
has no business being there in the second wild card, especially considering the expanded playoff setup that's supposed to take place this first season here. So they're going to face a bad team that has no business being in the playoffs. If they lose that game, not only is it a bad look on Cam Newton and his future contract negotiations, it's on Bill Belichick.
I mean, the whole point of my story was going to be, is Belichick truly going to invest in somebody when he doesn't know what the future is going to hold for 2021? He doesn't even know who starting quarterback is going to be. Why are you going to go get somebody like a Julio Jones, like let's say even say like Odell Beckham, like, and you say, wow, like him and Cam Newton will probably mesh pretty well. Cam Newton's probably out the door after the season. I don't expect Cam Newton to stay.
Here's another thought.
So
here's another thought. If Odell Beckham Jr. does get a trade here, does it entice Cam to stay? I would say yes.
for less money.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to stay for less money.
I would say yes.
It's true too. It's like almost like we said this after the Seattle game. You have to invest in Cam Newton now. He showed you in the first 2 weeks what he brings to the table. And even in week 3, it's kind of like a walk-through week. But the last 2 weeks, he didn't play against Kansas City. And then last week, it's not really his fault. Like Cam Newton, you can't completely blame Cam Newton. I mean, I will give him credit too for the way he holds the ball. That guy's a monster. Like he got sacked in the pocket, and the way he grips that ball, and even you saw him scoring that touchdown, the way he grips that ball,
Did
he
you ever
held
see
it
those
together.
like pictures of people getting like a McChicken and they have a death grip on it? That's how he holds that.
I just don't. Bill, it's almost, we don't know what's going through Bill's mind. We don't know what's going forward. I will give a shout out here to Graham Tuck and just say, like, he says Cam Newton goes to the Dallas Cowboys next year. And I actually think that's a very big possibility.
So speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, I was talking about this on Stafford and Matthews.
Cowboys.
So Andy Dalton is the starter now, the red rifle for the Dallas Cowboys. They looked horrible on Monday night. Arizona
Horrible
steamrolled
doesn't
them.
even describe it, Joe. Come on.
Exactly. So
you had
here's
grown
a
men
wild thought.
crying in the stands Monday night.
I know,
That's how bad
I
it
know.
was.
But here's a crazy thought. And speaking of quarterbacks, what if they're bringing Colin Kaepernick to captain America's team to a playoff spot? They're not out of the playoff race yet. I know you're shaking your head, and it's probably not a likely possibility. But imagine the headlines reading Colin Kaepernick leads
Racism's
the
dead.
NFC least
No,
to a division win.
because Jerry Jones, first of all, is pretty racist himself. Number
Straps
two,
Jones.
We hate
also
Jerry
knows
Jones on this show.
that Dallas Cowboys own like the entire Midwest United States. Like that's where all their fans are. They would lose a ton of support if they brought Colin Kaepernick in. And that's not me trying to shit on Colin Kaepernick. I think Colin Kaepernick should play in the league. I'm 100% on his side. I thought he looked good last year or whatever when he did the practices. But if he brings them in, that is so bad business for Jerry Jones, and he knows that because that world is completely different down there in
Yeah, I was
Texas.
gonna
Those
say,
Cowboys
they're
fans are
Florida
completely
of
different.
the Midwest.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a theoretical
Yeah,
toss it out there.
I hear you loud and clear. I think Dak Prescott, they're done. Jerry Jones probably happy. He gets to move
Jerry
on
Jones,
from him.
I want to stay on that. That upsets me because Dak has done everything for that Cowboys team. Yes, they were going to throw the bag at him, but Dak said no, and because he wanted even more money. It looks bad. I think right now it looks worse for Dak, but if Jerry Jones showed that he had some character, some class, he would take care of Dak Prescott and get him. It's not going to be like a 7-8 year contract like the ones I think they were talking about. It'll be like an average 4-year deal. Get him, the average league pay.
Watabe, you look at the Dallas Cowboys and they have weapons on offense. You still have Zeke. You have CeeDee Lamb. You have Amari Cooper locked up. You look at what Cam Newton's been doing this season, and you know he's on a 1-year deal. You can throw him some guaranteed money and say, come down here for 3 years, 4 years. Come be the face of America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. That's marketability for this guy right here because the Cowboys have the biggest fan base next to the New England Patriots. They probably are bigger than the New England Patriots. You bring him down there. You sign him for guaranteed money. And then they draft the quarterback this year, and they just have him, rise up from the rankings yet again. And I think that's what Jerry Jones is going to end up doing. I think that this guy is going to get a lot of offers this upcoming offseason, and the Patriots are not going to be able to A, match it, or B, give him the guaranteed money he wants. So that's why I want to bring this back full circle and say you have to be very careful doing a Julio Jones because you're not bringing Julio Jones for this guy. You're bringing him in for Jarrett Stidham, and you might not even be bringing him in for Jarrett Stidham. You don't even know who your quarterback is next year.
Thank for Trevor.
So, yeah, that's.
Yep. I'm on board.
Joking. I'm joking.
I know, but
I'm on board.
It's funny.
I want it.
I do like. I was telling Corey, I do like that the Patriots are 2-3 because it does separate the bandwagoners and the realists out there and the supporters for the New England Patriots.
And it's something.
It reminds me of when they went 1-2. It's still early on in the season. Like it's you can look at last game and we can make the excuses and say, well, if they practice all week, they should have beat Denver. Like they should have beat Kansas City if Cam Newton's healthy. Okay, now go prove it against San Fran and then go prove it in Buffalo. Even though there's no fans, go prove it in Buffalo. Win those 2 games. You're back at the top of the AFC East most likely. You're right there. The Miami Dolphins starting Tua now is kind of it's a little mind-boggling because if you're trying to compete in the AFC East, why not stick with Fitzpatrick right now and just stick with him until he fucking sucks? I understand you want to get Tua involved a little bit more often, but if you want to get him more often involved, play him in the 4th quarter.
Can I say something
just
about
play him
this?
later? Go ahead.
Okay, so this was probably the stupidest move Brian Flores has made as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins here. Ryan Fitzmagic is having a phenomenal season so
fantasy
far.
quarterback.
Literally, it makes no sense to me because, first of all, you have a COVID-ridden rookie training camp for Tua Tagovailoa, who's already has concerns about whether or not he can actually grasp the game at the next level with coverages, with everything. And he has injury concerns as well, right? You have Fitzpatrick, who's actually a 3-3 quarterback right now, but he's actually playing better than that. Why not have Fitzpatrick start the rest of the way, have Tua come in with a full regular offseason as the full-time starter, Keith Fitz is your backup, and have a normal transition after a year of being on the bench, learning from an established starter? That makes no sense to me.
I see it only because they had no preseason and you want to get Tua mixed in and you want to see what he has. You want to get some film on him, which is the equivalent of why we kept pushing the Jarrett Stidham start in week 1 is because they need to get film on him. They need to see what he has so they can study it, learn from it, and see what they can do next offseason. I think that right now they're in a predicament where it's like maybe they start Tua just 1 week and then they go right back to Fitzpatrick.
That's toxic,
it's like,
though.
Hey, we're going to give you the week
That's
off.
toxic.
Yeah.
But it is. It's bad.
Team.
You shouldn't do that. I think it's terrible for Flores to do that.
Like,
but good. You're hurting yourselves and it's just going to help the Patriots.
Do you think – okay, I'm not sure if this would be a bad thing to say. Tua, I don't think makes it past like 3 weeks health-wise. Even then, Corona, like this, if 2020, especially this football season, has proved it's anything. Nobody has a plan until the week of the game. Their plan this week is to play Tua as a starter. Fitzpatrick's going to be there eventually again, and then he's going to hopefully keep cooking.
What if Flores, in his mind is thinking, oh shit, look what the Patriots happened to them. Like they lost Cam Newton, and then they just dealt with like back-to-back losses because of it. Let's get Tua involved in there. Let's just see what he has because if this kid can learn the system. and then he gets hurt. Well, we have Fitzpatrick, who we know can go in there. Vice versa, if we start Fitzpatrick later on in the season and he gets sick or he gets hurt, we have Tua who just got some game experience. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Because look at now Andy Dalton with Dak Prescott. Like, now they're fucked for the season. These quarterbacks that are going down. They talked about this heading into the season, keeping these quarterbacks in their own little bubbles, because if one gets COVID, you need to have a good backup. And look at what Brian Hoyer did. He shit the bed. And if Jarrett Stidham started that game, things could have been differently. Maybe they still would have lost. It just shows the NFL. Like, what if the Miami Dolphins are a playoff team and then all of a sudden Brian Fitzpatrick in December or January gets COVID and you have to call up Tua, and Tua didn't have any starts. They had no experience during the whole season. So he might be looking at it that way.
All right, let's get into these picks. Want to do the Thursday night game this week because we had a bye week?
Yeah, we can do
that. And, it's Wednesday. Normally we record Thursday. A little behind-the-scenes look, it's Wednesday. So, yeah, let's just do Thursday. Who cares? Giants-Eagles. We should have skipped this. Giants-Eagles. It's a football game for sure. I'll give you guys that. This is the Eagles' division to lose at this point. After seeing the Cowboys play on Monday, the Giants are brutal. The football team might be even worse. Eagles comfortably. But you never know because the Eagles are also bad, but I'm still picking Eagles.
I just want to know, Tyler, before we get into the picks, are you using the Barstool Sports app out there at Penn State at all? Have you used it at all? I'm just wondering.
I don't gamble. I got a free $10 to do it, so I tossed it and I lost it, but I don't bet. Wait, Brandon, before we do this, you have the spreadsheet up? Can we just remind people of our picks, our records?
So our records as of today, who's leading the way? Tyler's still leading the way. 49 and 24.
You cut out. What did you say?
I'm not going to repeat it.
No, you do.
Joe is
you can play it back.
48 and 25. Babs is 42 and 31, and I am 43 and 29.
Still a tight race.
50?
Not terrible. No one got 50 yet.
What am I at? 48?
49.
40. All right, my 50th win is the Eagles over the Giants. Don't choke on the smoke, boys.
There we go. Eagles and Giants. The NFC least is in full force here. I mean, it's going to be a shitty.
Teams has to win.
It is going to be a shitty
That's
football
scary.
game. I'm going with the Eagles here. Surprisingly, Carson Wentz has played phenomenally the past couple weeks. They gave the Ravens a run for their money last week. 30-28 was the final score. I'm going with Carson Wentz and the Birds.
I'm also taking the emballed American Eagles.
Just going to do these one-liners again. So you got the Cowboys 2-4, you got the Eagles 1-4-1, you got the Giants 1-5, you got the Washington football team 1-5. I fully agree about the Philadelphia Eagles. It's their division to lose right now, and I'm kind of rooting for them to lose it because I just want to see this look so bad. The team most likely winning the division is going to be 7-9 or 7-8-1. Like it's going to be a 7-win.
I'm hoping
division,
9-1. I want to get nuts with it. I wanted to be.
How awesome would it be if one of these NFC East games this week, one of them ended up in a tie?
Yeah. I look at the Philadelphia Eagles. If you look at their last 4 games, which includes the tie against Cincinnati, they've at least scored, I think, 25 points or more. They've kept themselves in it. They've kept themselves in it against a hot Pittsburgh team as well, too. That's 5-0 now. They're fighting. And
but legitimately, I watch every single Eagles game. I think people are giving them credit because they look at the score. They were not in that Ravens game. Every game, they make it look close. And they're like, oh, the Eagles are hanging around. They're playing catch-up the whole way, and then they get some garbage time, backdoor cover. They're not a good team,
but guess what?
But they're the best team out of the terrible teams.
Yeah, you're still scoring points when it matters because, as I was going to get to my point, the next 2 weeks they're playing NFC East teams. So they play the Giants this week, and next week they play the Cowboys, and then they have a bye week. So you win the next 2 weeks, which is very winnable. Then you're right at the top of the NFC East. You have a bye week. You have some time to take off. As long as you're beating your own division, you're gonna go to the playoffs. That's all that
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think after the bye week they play the Giants again.
Yes, they do.
Why are we spending so much time on the Eagles? Let's move on. Let's go.
Because that division is so bad, and we need to acknowledge it every week.
Eagles are 4.5. Do you take 4.5 for the Eagles?
I take 107.5.
You can't trust any of these teams in that division.
All right, let's get out of there. Panthers, Saints. I can't even tell if the Panthers are bad. The Panthers are decent. Like the Panthers are a good bad team. The
They're a
Saints
good
are a
8-8.
bad good team. Is Michael Thomas back?
He
Maybe.
should be. Yeah, he was
I'm
suspended
taking
last
Saints.
week by
Actually.
the.
They just had a bye week. Easy. I'm taking
He
Saints.
was suspended by the team last week for punching his
Yeah,
teammate in
fighting.
the jaw after he called him a slant god or something like that, which was hilarious. That was so funny.
I'm
I'm going with the Saints as well.
Saints.
I'm going with the Saints as well.
I feel like you have to go with the Saints here. I mean, like Tyler said, you don't really know anything about the Panthers. I think they're just an average 8-8 team. So if Michael Thomas plays, Saints easy, yeah.
Do we have any updates on Christian McCaffrey? And
Christian
when he might
McCaffrey will be
coming
back after the bye week.
Two more weeks,
one
right?
more
Yeah.
week without Christian
One more week.
McCaffrey.
Okay.
Hey, Mike Davis isn't terrible. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Mike Davis has been carrying the load for that offense.
Is Christian McCaffrey a what is that? A system
running back? No,
People are
he is
starting
not.
to talk.
He is a generational type running back.
The fact that the Panthers are 3-3, they're still fighting in there. I think this will be a dogfight. I think they'll stay within this game. The Saints 3-2 don't feel like a 3-2 team. They feel like a 2-3 team. I feel like they're even like a 1-5 team right now. They just don't have it together. And they should have lost on that Monday night game when they played the Chargers. The Chargers should have beat them, but it is what it is. They're 3-2. You get Michael Thomas back. Hopefully he has his head in the game. And I think that he's really the missing piece for that team to get things going on. I think the Saints from here on out should continue winning. They are looking at the division, and now Tom Brady and the Bucs are heating up, so they know that they have to keep up with them. So I'm taking the Saints.
Bills, Jets. Bills looked kind of rough these past 2 weeks, and the New York Jets.
Looks like the New York Jets.
Can we move on?
Babs. Babs.
Across the board.
Who's the starting quarterback this week?
The elite
Flacco.
one.
It could be me.
The elite one.
The elite one.
Not the other guy. Not the kid from USC.
What are
They're starting an
what are they
elite
doing
quarterback.
with Sam Darnold? Like, I don't get it.
He's injured.
All right,
He's not
we
elite.
can talk about this. Le'Veon Bell out of there. Goes to Kansas City. And Adam Gase says, yeah, it happens. It doesn't happen. It doesn't. You don't sign.
I'm convinced Adam Gase is a robot.
Hmm?
I'm convinced Adam Gase is a robot. Ever see his press conference from
I'm convinced
he's
he's a
like-
moron.
He's
think
like
he
one of
just
those animatronics from like Chuck E. Cheese or something.
Yeah, no, he is. It's hilarious. I
Yeah,
still
he's-
understand
no,
how he
know
has
what
a
he is?
job when
He's the Christmas tree when you walked into Bugaboo Creek and would randomly pop up and show a little bit of emotion and stuff like that. That's Adam Gase, except he has a Jets hat on.
Yeah, I don't understand how Bill O'Brien and Dan Quinn got fired before Adam Gase did. That still blows my mind.
Okay,
but
but
anyway, I'm
Spinza-
going with the Bills.
I think that they're making Gase coach the Jets as punishment because it's like we're not trying to turn the season around. There's no point in firing him if you're trying to tank. You're going to make this guy show just how miserable and how bad he is at coaching. Like he's going to be out of the league after this year. And I think you're very good at losing football games, which means you're very good at tanking.
They're very good at that. I will give you that.
You're not going to get rid of Gase. I don't think Gase leaves, and I think I'm not for saying that, but he would have been out of here by now.
Casual fan take.
Or big brain.
Big brain mode.
I'm looking at the Jets schedule. They are so fucked. They have Buffalo, at Kansas City, New England, bye week, Chargers, Miami, Las Vegas, Seattle, Rams, Cleveland, New England. That's 0-6 team.
They're gonna win one.
They have
They're gonna win
But this is why Gase doesn't leave, bro. If you put in a coach, a competent coach, he could squeak out a win. They don't want to win. They want Trevor Lawrence wearing green.
They
He's
said
staying at Clemson.
what
I
Tommy
hope.
just
Or
said.
Eli Manning's though.
Jets are going to win one game. They have to win one
Exactly.
game. It's got to be a sneaky game somewhere. If the Jets win one game, maybe it's against New England week 17 when the New England Patriots sit everybody and they have freaking Brian Hoyer as the quarterback. They just sit everybody completely. Maybe that's their win later on. But I'm picking the Jets this week. I think
Lord, here
What?
we
Stop.
I am picking
Oh, good
No,
choice.
no,
Good
no.
pick. Good answer. Good answer. Like a fucking.
Oh no. What are you doing, kid?
Well, you know what? When you have someone that has 49 wins and you have 42, you got to play catch up. You got to put a Hail Mary out there.
And I go first.
I'm going with the Jets this week because I think Buffalo beats themselves. I think Buffalo has 2-game losing streak. This is the time of the year when they start getting backwards. And you know what? I'm rooting at it as a New England Patriots fan. The football gods, you stuck with them. We're going to bless you this week. The Jets are going to be Buffalo. The New England Patriots will win. And all of a sudden, The New England Patriots are that just much closer in the AFC East. I'm picking the Jets this week. There is going to be a shocking win at some point. They're going to get it together. They're going to do something.
Cardinals last time?
They're
I like
gonna
how
do
you had
something.
no idea what you were about to say going into this, and you found your way. Because you don't really think the Jets are going to win.
Sometimes I just talk.
Yo,
And
boys, there's a turkey dinner at my dining hall right now. Let's pick it up. Let's go. I'm hungry.
Turkey.
Turkey can wait.
Jets.
Browns, Bengals. Simply put, I think the Bengals win outright. Oh, I mean, you can't really win not outright, but I think the Bengals win. So I'm picking the Bengals.
I'm going with the Browns here just because Joe Burrow choked the game away against Indianapolis, against Phillip fucking Rivers, which is embarrassing to me by any standard. Up 21-0, and they lose that ball game. Just embarrassing. I'm going with the Browns here because Baker Mayfield actually plays well against shitty competition.
I think Ed Orgeron of the LSU Tigers is going to post a video for his quarterback and say, "Go Tigers. Go Bengals." Bengals win this one.
Hey, LSU stinks this year too, but we'll get to college football.
I think that we're going to actually start seeing the downfall of the Cleveland Browns coming up. And it's not because the team is going to end up being bad. It's because Baker Mayfield is going through some serious injuries right now that are being
He
hidden.
sucks at football.
And I think that he's going to end up getting speared this upcoming week, get knocked out of that game at some point. I don't know how much longer his body is going to take it. And
is
I'm
Montez
picking.
Burfict still in the league?
No.
Or on the Bengals?
He's been suspended like OJ Mayo.
I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
was gonna
pick
say,
the
hey, what's one more than if Baker's back? You picking Bengals? You said
picking Bengals.
I want Browns.
Bengals.
Cowboys football team. The Cowboys need to win a game. They have to get.
No,
a
they
W on
don't.
the board, and I think it's going to be against the football team because they're brutal. I do like how Rivera though. He always does like, screw it. We're gonna either win it right now or never. Because he does like the 2-point conversion for the win, for like to take a lead. He does a lot of risky moves. He bets on red or black, and it's hit the opposite color every single game. Picking the
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys here, just because I want to pick against Washington. They just aren't doing a lot of stuff right now. They lost to the goddamn Giants last week, so I'm gonna go with the Cowboys here.
Yeah, as in previous weeks, I never want to choose that team, but sometimes you just have to go with it. The Cowboys win this game.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna go with Washington. I just don't think that Dallas has anything to prove that shows that they're gonna be a capable team. I mean, again, I think it's a coin flip game. Also, Washington is favored in this game by 1 point. So Vegas knows. Vegas knows something. So I'm gonna stick with Vegas, and then I'm gonna take with the favorite, and I'm gonna go with Washington.
I think I might go undefeated
I said this
week.
last week. I'll say it every week. There's nobody better at their jobs than what they do, and then the Vegas odd makers because they are unreal. What do we got? Packers, Texans.
The Texans looked good last week.
Is Green Bay cursed after
After
the Hingle McCringleberry celebration? Why you scored 10 points? You look like you can't throw a football anymore. I think that curses their season. I'm picking the Texans,
and that's how the Twins came out.
We'll let that one sit. But I'm picking the I'm picking the Texans over the Packers.
I'm going to go with the Packers here. The Texans, to their credit, have played very, very well the past couple of weeks after ditching the Bill O'Brien curse. But Aaron Rodgers is a man possessed and a man pissed off after losing that game in terrible, terrible fashion in Tampa Bay on Sunday. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers in a revenge game.
I'm going with the best A-Rod on the planet, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Can you believe that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are not even leading their division? It's still the Chicago Bears at 5-1. Unbelievable. We'll get to that, I know. But, yes, pissed off Aaron Rodgers the same way that you look at a pissed off Tom Brady. I mean, it's hard for this guy to lose back-to-back games. It should be an easy win. You're in a dome this week. Take care of business down there in Houston. Green Bay.
Lions, Falcons, the toilet bowl. Have the Falcons won? Yeah. They won a game.
Yeah.
One last week against the Vikings.
These are just two teams that played decent the whole game, and then they each find a way to shoot themselves in the foot. So it's going to be who shoots themselves in the foot first. I'm picking the Falcons.
I went with the Lions on Stafford and Matthews, and I'm feeling less confident about that decision now. But I'm still going to go with the Lions here. Uncle Matt's going to hold it down at some point. He will get a victory over this Falcons defense, which is terrible, Kenny. It's awful. But yeah, the secondary is just terrible. I'm going to go with the Lions here.
I'm going to mention this guy for the third time on today's show, Danny Amendola and them boys up in Detroit get the job done.
I think that there's been so much talk now that we said that are the Atlanta Falcons going to start gutting everything out? Matt Ryan, Julio Jones. I think this is a game that they're going to prove their worth and they're going to want to either stay. And I think that they're going to ball out this week. Also, hot seat Matt Patricia. He's got to go on there sooner rather than later. The Lions are 2-3. They'll go 2-4. They'll lose this game. Matt Patricia will be on a hot seat.
I mean, yeah, Matt Patricia's not a good football coach. He's a coordinator, maybe, but not a football coach.
He's a good coordinator. Got a few rings doing that.
Yeah, but there's a little Patriots magic on that. So I don't know. The verdict's out on Patricia right now. Steelers, Titans, 2 undefeated teams. Say what you want about the Titans and all that, but I think they're very good. I think the Titans are a very, very good football team. You could say the same thing about the Steelers. Like, the Steelers are not bad at all. They always have receivers. Chase Claypool is a monster. I'm picking Tennessee.
And this was a tough game for me to pick as well. These are 2 great football teams, arguably both top 5 football teams in football, period, regardless of conference, regardless of division. And I went with the Titans here as well because Derrick Henry will be able to control the clock better than the Steelers will be able to. It's going to be either a very high-scoring game or a very low-scoring game. I just think the Steelers have a better or a worse opportunity to kind of contain their offensive attack. So I'm going to go with the Titans here.
I think the Steelers are for real this year. I think I said it a few weeks ago. I think I could potentially see them and the Seattle Seahawks meeting up in a game in February down the line. I do think the Steelers win this game.
Yeah, right now we have the Titans favored. I mean, these teams haven't really played anyone great on the schedule. I was just looking up that now. You had, technically, like, the Steelers just played Cleveland. Cleveland was supposed to be good heading into that game, and it looked that good. And on the opposite end, the Titans did play Buffalo. They absolutely smoked them. This is going to be a fun game, back and forth. I'm picking Pittsburgh in this game. I shit on them the first week. I was like, this is it. The resurgence of Big Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers, this might be one of his best teams that he has in the last 10 years that he's been on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe in them fully. I think that they have a legitimate shot to be the 1 seed this year as well, too. I'm going to be rolling with Pittsburgh this week.
Seahawks, Cardinals. The Cardinals play good against good teams, bad against bad teams. They play at the level of their competition. You can't really say that. I think I meant to say that.
I watched that Cardinals
They play
game last
bad
week.
against good teams and good against bad teams. That's what I meant to say.
Kyler Murray didn't look like he knew how to throw a football last week.
Yeah, but that slide, everyone's freaking out about his slide he took as if he didn't get drafted first round in the MLB. I'm picking Seahawks. I think that's pretty easy.
I'm going with the Seahawks here as well. Russell Wilson is going to ball out like he always does. It's going to come down to being a quarterback competition in this game. Seahawks have a phenomenal run defense, but a subpar pass defense. It's going to be up and down, but I think Russell Wilson gets the W here.
I do too.
Word.
Seahawks and Cardinals, they usually have some pretty good games back and forth, whether it's fucking 6-3. Remember that a couple years ago?
Or tied.
Yeah, tie games. It'll be a hard fought game, both sides. Seattle's favored 3.5. I'll take them right at that sweet spot. They'll win by 4 points.
3.5?
Yeah, Seattle.
That's the spread?
Mhm.
I think they won by like
Think
14.
they pushed that?
Yeah, that's a lock. All right. Anyways, Chiefs, Broncos. All right. McManus kicked what? 6 field goals last week?
It looked like a million.
Yep, 6 times 3 is 18.
2 thoughts. 1, do kickers get drug tested after they do like an unbelievable performance like that? Just to give them a
Yeah,
heat check?
Pat McAfee got drug tested after an 80-yard punt.
Punting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 2, ever since they moved the field goal, the extra point back, what was that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, I have zero faith when another kicker enters the field. No fans, nothing this year. I do not think that a kick is going to go in until I see it like go right through the uprights. It used to be like you throw on the kicker, put up the 3 points. Like it used to be Gostowski's thing back in the days. Like, oh, Gostowski's hitting the field, put the 3 up now. And then Gostowski started to stink as soon as they pushed it back. I think kickers are the most mentally weak human beings on the planet. That's not a hot take, but it's just a real thing. I don't get how kickers are like. Remember that Ninja tweet? How are kickers so bad at their job when you just kick the ball? And then someone's like, you play Fortnite. He's like, playing Fortnite's harder than kicking a ball. I don't hate that. Kicking a ball, like you just need to go right through the uprights. And I don't have any faith in kickers. With that being said, if you don't take the Chiefs, you're an absolute moron.
I'm going with the Chiefs as well here. It shouldn't even be a close contest. I'm thinking it's gonna be like 50 points plus for the Chiefs. This defense is still not looking good, even after whooping the Camden Patriots.
Didn't the Chiefs and the Broncos play a game similar to that Pats Broncos game where they kicked like 9 field goals and won the game against them somehow?
Something like that, yeah.
I think, yeah. So why not? Let's turn the tides. I bet the Chiefs kicker. I don't know who it is, but I bet he kicks 8 field goals this game.
Butker kind of stinks this year.
Butker.
Yeah. I mean,
Butker for 3.
there's really nothing to talk about here. The Kansas City Chiefs, congratulations, Pat Mahomes. You're having a baby girl. Welcome to be a girl dad. They just announced today.
You did it before. It was cool, though, right?
That
Yeah, I did
child
before.
is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah,
Pat
I
Mahomes
know,
and his girlfriend.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
So Chiefs steamroll. They're 9.5 point favorites. They should beat that.
Jaguars, Chargers. I'm buying into the Justin Herbert hype week by week. They were on a bye last week. Mike Williams is back. He never really left. He just kind of nagging injury. He's questionable the past couple of times. And Mike Williams is good. Mike Williams is a good receiver still. And Justin Herbert, he's looking for a target still. You have Keenan Allen. You have Hunter Henry. You have all these weapons around you. But what's one more? So I'm buying Justin Herbert. Don't think the Jags are good. They do the same thing as every year. They win an early game. Everyone's like, oh, my God, are the Jags legit this year because they went to the AFC Championship a decade ago or whatever it was. Seems like a decade, 3 years ago. Chargers, easy.
I'm going with the Chargers here as well. Justin Herbert, like you said, hit the nail on the head here. Is looking like the real deal. Looking better than Joe Burrow is right now. That's not even a bold take to say. Like if you look at the numbers here. Yeah, definitely. And the Jaguars are 1-5 right now. They won that first game. Everybody's like, oh, maybe they have something in the back of their pocket here. They don't. But I still think Gardner Minshew wins enough games to avoid the tank for Trevor hype.
I'm also going with the Chargers to continue my undefeated run this week.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna go opposite here, and I'm actually gonna take the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. Justin Herbert has not got his first NFL win. And I just feel that this Chargers team should be better than what their record says. And I think it's just one of those games where they get caught. Like, something happens to them. And all I know is Babs is just going to start rumors right after this game and put Keenan Allen in a Patriots fucking jersey and say, time to go get Keenan Allen now. It's time to go get him. Because now the Chargers are completely out of it. I think the Jaguars win this game. I'm going to take them. They both haven't won since week 1. Both teams. Yeah. So
49ers Patriots.
This was hilarious on Stafford and Matthews because Chris is from Long Beach. He's a huge 49ers fan. So we were going back and forth. And this was a tough game for everyone to say. But before you guys pick, I had to go with the Patriots just off the bat because I picked them as a bet with Chris. But I think the 49ers win the game. But I had to pick the wager? It's just something stupid like a jersey. We'd wear a jersey for a week if you like the Patriots jersey for Chris and the Niners jersey for me. So
I would have bet 10% of our bank accounts. That's what I would have done. I'll give you 10% of mine if I win, and you give me 10% of yours. I'm picking the Pats. Obviously, like Patriots fan, can't lose 3 in a row.
Wait, Joe, did you take the Pats? I couldn't tell you. You take the Pats.
I had to take the Pats, but I think the Niners will win. But I had to take the Pats.
For your official records.
Yes, I'll take the Pats for my official record. Yep.
Gotcha. Here's my reasoning for this pick. I put a lot of thought into it. You know who won Super Bowl 49? It wasn't the 49ers. It was the Patriots. So that's why they'll win this game.
Nothing like history. Yep.
The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie.
Argue it. That did happen.
The Patriots never lost that game when it was Super Bowl 49. They've never lost. They've never lost Super Bowl 49.
Of course. Babs, your pick?
You run it back a million times. They've never lost.
I have also been going back and forth about this game. What San Francisco team is going to show up to this game? And how are things going to play out, win or lose? And I obviously see I'm rooting for the New England Patriots. I am taking the San Francisco 49ers in this game. I am not picking the Patriots.
Big fan.
I'm only doing that because A, I'm already behind in the picks. I got to catch up. You need a couple of spoilers out there. I don't know. I think that Cam Newton last week, there was a couple of things that I looked at, and I'm like, I don't know. I think that him taking too much time in the pocket is going to hurt him. They should win this game easily, especially if you're practicing all week. But then again, David Andrews, you've been out for 5 weeks, or you've been out for 4 weeks or whatever. He's been out for a little bit. Is this team still going to get anything offensively going? The defense is due for a bad game. They've held it together. They've really held it together the last couple of weeks. They're kind of due for a bad game soon. And, man, think about the Patriots storylines that come off of this. Bill Belichick's guy, Jimmy Garoppolo, that he wanted, came into New England and won that game. And then all of a sudden you're looking at the Patriots now at 2-4 heading into Buffalo. What do you do at the quarterback position? What's going on? Everyone's going to start really freaking out. And I kind of want to see that smoke because I don't think that even if the Patriots lose, I still am not hitting the panic button just yet, especially where there's 7 teams that make the playoffs this year. But don't expect this to be a cakewalk. This is going to be a very tough game. And that's why I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers.
Bucks Raiders Sunday Night Football. Bucks.
Not a bad
I think
game.
The easy choice is Bucks, but the Raiders. That's my analysis. I'm picking Bucks.
I'm going with the Bucks here too, but it will be a very, very tight race here. John Gruden knows Tom Brady so well. He's known for his entire career. Knows his tendencies, what to guard against, what to not guard against here. But I think the Bucks just have too much firepower for the Raiders defense to handle. So I'm going to go with the Bucks here.
I'm going with the Bucks, and I think they mentioned the Tuck Rule game 5 times during the broadcast.
Probably, yeah, around there.
I'm going with the Raiders. I think having that bye week is helpful. You beat Kansas City. You have a bye week. You're getting rested up. You get rested up. That's what the team was lacking in the first couple weeks, is that some of their O-line was missing. You were missing Ruggs for a couple games. You're missing the cornerback. They're fully healthy going into this Tampa Bay game. Maybe Tampa Bay, some of their players, it's not just Tom Brady, some of their players might be feeling themselves a little bit after beating Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, might get a little content heading into this game, might be like, this is a winnable game for us. I think that the Raiders will shock it. I mean, again, Vegas knows Tampa Bay is only favored 3 points, so it's going to be a close one. I'm going to pick the Raiders.
You're either going to be coming close into the standings or you just double your losses.
Falling behind.
Bears, Rams. The Bears are 5-1. The NFC North leading Bears. Yeah, maybe the record isn't as good as this team actually is. Yeah, maybe they snuck out of a couple of games with some wins. They're still 5-1. These wins still count. However, I think the Rams smoke them this week. I don't even think it's close. I think they get embarrassed on national TV. And I think the Rams win by a lot. Book it.
Oh, sorry. I just completely missed that. To be honest with you, it's a tough game for me to call, and I might be surprised people about that because it seems like it's kind of a mismatch right now in certain terms. The Rams obviously are a better team than the Bears here. I've gone on record here. The Bears are frauds. They are frauds. They're a 5-1 fraudulent team, and they should be nowhere near this. It started week 1 with the Lions dropping that ball in the end zone to win the football game, and it's continued and snowballed to the point where Chicagoans think they actually have a good football team. They don't. But I wouldn't be surprised if they pull off another miracle win, especially with Jared Goff going against them. But I swear to God, if Jared Goff lets me down again, I'm going to his house and lighting something on fire. I swear that's all this is going to do. But I'm going to go with Jared Goff and the Rams.
I'm hoping Jared Goff lets you down simply so I can finish my undefeated week on this show and just laugh at all you guys next week. And I think the Bears somehow win this game. I'm totally on board with them being fraudulent. I don't think they're a good football team, but what the heck? Something's working for them right now, and they got Nick Foles at quarterback. I think he outplays Jared Goff. Simple as that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bears as well, too. The Rams are 6-point favorites. This might be a little tasty game to take an underdog here, money line for Chicago Bears. Like you said, there's something going right with that team. I don't want to pick them against them just yet. I think the Rams showed a little bad spot so far this year. I mean, they did come back against the Bills, but they were down big in that game. They just came off a San Francisco loss. They didn't look too well either. I'm taking Chicago this game. I think that trade for Khalil Mack, it worked out. It worked out for Chicago, and it's really starting to really show this season.
So, yeah, week 7. We'll see how we do next week.
I think I'm going to do pretty good this week. I'm pretty confident this week. I don't know what it is. I've just got that,
swagger.
I had some charisma to my picks
Having
this
that
week.
bye week.
I felt confident.
We had our own little bye week.
Yeah.
Fresh.
I had time to study.
Fresh.
I got the chance to crunch the numbers and figure out who I wanted to take.
Fresh legs. And then when we go to Brandon's pick, he's like, Seahawks, just cuz. All right, World Series is going on. I believe game 2 is tonight. And Mookie Betts, still pretty good at baseball. Big fan of
Glasses went on.
Nothing much I really want to talk about this other than, John Henry. Go either buy the Red Sox or buy that soccer team. You can't do both. Because if you don't get Mookie Betts back, everyone starts blaming your soccer team. And if you don't have anything to do well for them, who's he, the owner of Chelsea or something? Or Liverpool, I think? I don't know.
Soccer's not a real sport on this page.
Yeah, football.
Fair.
I
You're
don't know.
an
The World Series,
anti-soccer
Brandon,
podcast.
Any thoughts about this? I'm just glad it wasn't.
Yeah. I'm
Rays,
so sad, man.
Florida Georgia Lions World Series.
It sucks watching a game between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the team that's talked about the most is the Boston Red Sox. It doesn't make sense.
Fair enough.
We're watching this game, and every time, Mookie had an outstanding World Series game. 2 for 4, 2 stolen bases, a few RBI, a home run. He was doing everything. Drew a walk or 2, I think. He was on everything. I had Alexa playing Marvin's Room in second inning. I was heartbroken to see what this guy's able to do. It's just it sucks because of what the Red Sox had to do. They made the money work for the future. We're going to have some money to spend this upcoming offseason, the offseason we're about to be in. I think Alex Cora, I'm pretty confident he's coming back.
I want him
back bad. And Red Sox are going to have upwards of $40 million to spend this offseason. I think they spend a significant amount of money on a new outfielder, some starting pitching. I'll backtrack a bit. I think they spend the most on a brand new outfielder who currently plays in Houston. And I think
We don't want any cheaters in this locker room.
Hey, him and Alex Cora are good buddies.
We had Ortiz use steroids his whole career and he didn't get caught.
No.
Shut up.
Yeah.
There will be no poppy slander on this podcast.
Shut up.
Yeah, get out.
We're just stating his career.
Shut up.
I can edit all
Just
this
stating
out.
facts. Just stating facts.
Shut up.
I've got the power.
But steroid guy.
I do think a certain UConn alumni is going to be manning center field for the Boston Red Sox next season, as Jackie Bradley's likely on his way out. What else? There's a lot to look forward to. The Red Sox will be in contention in the next 2 years. They had no starting pitching this year. It was obvious, but they had a lot of guys not playing, and they're going to get a great rotation back, starting with Chris Sale, down to Nathan Eovaldi, and then Eduardo Rodriguez, who is a legit starting Cy Young contending pitcher. He is very good.
I think this is going to be the downward spiral of the Boston Red Sox organization.
Another
for the next
86
decade.
years.
This is going to be a bad decade coming up. This is going to be bad from 2020 to 2030. It's going to be a long decade for you, Brent.
Babs, read what does the poster say behind you?
Oh, that's football, dude. This isn't. Do you see
No,
any
just what's
That's not what he has.
the bottom half of it?
Do you
say?
see any? Do you see anything?
Yo, who
All right,
designed that, by
listen.
the way?
We talked about this, how the Boston Red Sox need to win a World Series within
I think
3 years.
the good
to show
window is
that getting
5
rid of
years because
Mookie-
Mookie will only be 40% through his
And
contract.
you can kind of say, well, this 1 year that he won, it was a COVID-ridden season, like this and that. There's really no excuses still. Like I don't think there is. But I give props to Mookie. Dude got out of there, and he's gonna end up winning another World Series. Like that's awesome.
He is so good.
And if I'm Mookie, I mean, you have to look at yourself as an individual. Baseball Hall of Famer. That's what he's looking at right now. And now you're just keep adding those stats right there with another championship. That's why I'm saying, as a Boston Red Sox fans out there, it's gonna be a long decade. You're gonna think back on why didn't we keep Mookie? Why didn't we sign him? Why didn't we pay him? It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt.
I'm telling you, what's the date today? The 21st. You timestamp this. You come back here. Brandon Watabe told you first. The Boston Red Sox will be World Series champions in 2023.
All right, final thoughts.
Take that to the bank.
All right, let's see it. I'll come back to you in 3 years. Joe, we'll start with you. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts, please check out Stafford and Matthews. Pretty cool show going on right now. Brandon Watabe and me are working on some cool visual stuff going forward, and the BB3 network might be incorporated for other shows as well, so keep your eye on that. As well as the fact I'm dropping my slang nickname line on Sunday. A lot of cool stuff down the line for me coming up, so check it out, support, and thank you.
You got to give props to the upcoming college basketball season. My UConn Huskies are going to be good for the first time in 4 years. They are going to make a run at March Madness, should March Madness actually happen this year. The boys and James Bouknight and a cook, high first-round draft picks, they're going to show out.
Paps?
Let's get political. The third and final debate is coming up. Trump versus Biden. I got Stafford sleeping over here.
I just don't want to.
Muted mics, dude. And I think that's gonna be funny because you know what what I like about the debates is the gifs that come off of it, the tweets, the little videos, the hilarity things off of it. Like everyone freaked out with Pence and the bug. Donald Trump is going to be yelling, and his mic is going to be muted.
I think so too.
And I would not be surprised if he steps away and grabs another microphone. Like something's going to happen, and that's what I like about this. Go out and vote. You guys can vote.
Vote.
There.
First election. First election right here.
Vote.
I'm a responsible U.S. citizen.
There you
I
go.
am going to place my vote later this week. I can do that right at Town Hall. They have early voting. I will get my vote in.
You're voting for Kanye, right?
Oh, God.
Voting for his daughters, so they always have a fan.
Let me tell you guys something real quick. I know Stafford wants to get out of here.
No, it's fine now. The food's gone now. It's
the turkey's gone cold.
That was a pipe dream.
We're not gonna go around here and get too political and stuff. We don't have to do this. Donald Trump in 2016, in my opinion, opened the floodgates for celebrities and billionaires to start running for presidency. And in 2024, you are going to see some of the wildest candidates like a Kanye West. That's why he's doing this now, because
Oprah. It's going to be Oprah.
And let me tell you something. Oprah would win. That's how America's going to vote. I would probably vote for Oprah.
I'd vote for Danny DeVito
I would vote for
right now.
But you know that you're going to get guys like El Presidente from Barstool. Prez himself is going to run as a Republican, most likely. It's going to happen, and you're going to see some of these wacky candidates. But the fact of the matter is that a couple of these wacky candidates are going to make it through, and it's going to be towards the end. So I'm just saying that. America's kind of fucked in the short term. In the long term, I think it works out. You're breaking the two-party system. That's the whole point of doing this. That's the reason why I liked Trump, because he's a Democrat that wasn't accepted by that party, and he had to run as a Republican. It's like the two-party system doesn't work. Everyone should be independent. That's how it should be. There shouldn't be these two parties. It's a system that needs to be broken. It's going to take years. It's going to take decades. We'll be dead before it even gets broken. But it's big history, you know? Kanye West will run, and I think he's a legitimate shot. And I tell you this, The Rock will run in 2032. So
funny. Well, that's ways off.
The Rock's gonna run for governor, of some state.
Like Arnold.
Arnold.
Yes.
Arnold.
The Rock. The Rock would win by a landslide. Everyone likes The Rock. No one could ever talk bad about The Rock. You see him, but if he can go in there and say he runs for California and does his 4 years, at least he can say, hey, I have some sort of political background and I kind of know what's going on here a little bit. He can kind of get by with that. Just saying. Go
I
vote.
have
Go vote.
I have 4 final thoughts. 1, shout out GRD. Dad RD, Dad runs deep. He made that announcement on Instagram. Second one, Penn State football starts this weekend. The Big Ten is back, facing Indiana. Speaking of Penn State, my third final thought, our basketball coach got fired today for, like, harassing the players. I don't know. Pat Chambers, don't let the door hit you on the way out. You're
It's a Penn State thing.
terrible, terrible, terrible basketball coach. We got lucky one year. Mark Stevens, the best year of his career. Pat Chambers, literally never come back to Happy Valley. You stink out loud as a basketball coach. Fourth final thought, Ty Miller Designs, November 1st. Peep the Instagram. And I'll obviously still make stuff for Boston's Big Three upon request. But that's when I'm going to be showing my designs. Some stuff for the little TikTokers I'm doing over in LA. But yeah.
TikTokers.
TikTok. Boston's Big Three, episode 78. It's a wrap.